cosmic kin. I am Sarah Sigma. This is What the Frequency. A place where remembering is sacred, healing is rebellion, and love, that's the frequency that never fades. Today's episode isn't a daily metaphysical update. It's something much deeper. Something personal, something historical, and something profoundly hopeful. Because the truth is, 20 years ago, if I spoke openly about the things that I share now, I would have been committed. Not to the cause, no, committed. Not metaphorically, literally. And I know this because I watched it happen to my own father. Before my birth throughout the 70s, the 80s I witnessed firsthand, and even in the early 90s. So today, I want to walk us through why that was, what changed, and where we are now as a collective. Because we are not crazy, we are not late, and we are not wrong. We are right on time. 20 years ago, there were topics you simply did not speak about. Not publicly, not casually, and certainly not without consequences. When, that is if, you found a similar thinking soul, you cherished that connection. It was oxygen underwater. Speaking concepts, theories, and truths openly was liberation from the cage of a control our world has been forced into. If you questioned government narratives, if you talked about shadow governments, if you spoke about non-human intelligences, if you questioned the nature of law, sovereignty, financial institutions, the 8 families that run the entire show, the patriarchy, or systems of control, you weren't called awake. You weren't even woke. You were called unstable. I remember when I first spoke about shadow governments. When I first questioned who actually holds authority. When conversations emerged around reptilian archetypes, Archons, or other beings, not as sci-fi, but as symbolic frameworks for power, parasitism, and control. Back then, those conversations didn't lead to podcasts. They led to padded rooms, white jackets with long sleeves and straps, and what we have labeled the Thorazine shuffle. I watched brilliant, sensitive, intuitive, multidimensional people be labeled schizophrenic because they saw patterns before the rest of society had language for them, including my kind, loving, super genius of a dad. Guide me from the ether, Daddy. R.I.P. This wasn't because they were wrong. It was because the system wasn't ready to be questioned. Let's talk about some things that used to be unspeakable and now are being discussed openly. Maritime law, corporate personhood, birth certificates as instruments, social security numbers functioning as identifiers, not protections. 20 years ago, if you said the government treats citizens like assets, you were dismissed. But now, now that conversation is happening. It's happening in courtrooms. It's happening in universities. It's happening in financial sectors. The idea that prisons are privatized, not for rehabilitation, but for profit, used to sound conspiratorial. Now, it's a documented business model. Because how many publicly ran institutions are left? Really? If anyone knows, please share in the comments. The idea that systems are interconnected, government, media, pharma, finance, judiciary, military, educational, once felt like paranoia, but now it's called policy alignment, just a cog in the wheel. Let's remember together Y2K. Who remembers that? The endless propaganda, the fear campaigns, the sense that everything just might collapse overnight. Then, nothing. We watched our desktop's clock count down to midnight with bated breath, only for them to reset to double zeros. But the imprint remained. Fear works. Then came the Mayan calendar in 2012. The world was supposed to end, but guess what? It didn't. Cue Elton John, because I'm still standing, friend, and you are too. The world may not have blinked out in 2012, but something else did. Our innocence. That was the first time many people felt time itself shift. A strange sense that reality didn't quite snap back the same way. Then fast forward to 2020, a global Psy-Op of unprecedented scale. We locked ourselves down, ignored neighbors in need, hoarded resources, turned on each other, and trusted systems that had never proven themselves trustworthy. And many paid the price, physically, emotionally, spiritually. This is not said with blame. It's said with compassion, as well as a smidge of divine rage at the injustice. Because fear narrows consciousness. The powers that be have applied any idea that they can think of to keep their boot on our neck. Until now. Here's the part that matters most. The tides have turned. The truth can no longer be hidden. It can no longer be twisted fast enough to keep up with awareness. This is what people mean when they say the veil is thinning. The veil was never mystical fabric floating in the air. The veil was information control, narrative dominance, fear conditioning, and it's dissolving. Not because someone won, but because humanity matured and can no longer be controlled. We are now in what I call the conscious revolution. Not violent, not chaotic, but undeniable. People are questioning everything: authority, money, work, identity, time, consciousness, what it means to be human. This isn't rebellion for rebellion's sake. This is remembering. And that's why what once got people institutionalized now gets them invited to speak. And as we enter 2026, I want to invite our loving, thoughtful community to gather in the ether. Set an alarm for January 1st at 1:11 p.m. or a.m. We will join to set an intention for every what the frequency freak and person in the collective to have not stepped, but strutted into 2026, the cycle 1 year, knowing this is the year we have waited for our entire lives. As the huge wealth redistribution is happening now in ripples, we know the waves are on the way. So set up for it. Become the light worker who can hold the blessings coming. Feel the peace of abundance, the joy of limitless experiences, the satisfaction of the old systems crumbling and new earth rising. Rest in knowing our golden age is on the way. We are not waiting for it. We are ushering it in. Guru, G, you are you. So January 1st, 1:11, set it. Have a golden year. See the world using your activated rose ray like you wear rose gold colored glasses, with love and abundance, with trust in humanity's awakening. And if your nervous system isn't calm enough to remain in this spiral of abundance, I've created a free Gumroad ground to receive activation. The community is free as well. Come see me inside the Circle of Remembrance. It's linked below or in the description. Before we close, let's touch the lesson gently. The lesson is not, I told you so. That perspective is so low vibe. Instead, the lesson is, truth has a timing. And humanity has reached it. Those who were silenced weren't wrong. They were early. And those waking now are not late. They are perfectly on time. And I am excited to meet you here. I am Sarah Sigma. This is What the Frequency, a place where remembering is sacred. Healing is rebellion, and love, that's the frequency that never fades. So save the date, January 1st at 1:11 a.m. or p.m., golden era. Let's get this shift. Until next time, stay awake, stay gentle, and stay harmonic. I'll greet you in the spiral. Aveo.